Hey there. How are you?
My mother has been diagnosed with BPD, and
And by the
and
way, for people who don't know I'm assuming you're meaning borderline personality disorder.
yes,
Is that what you mean?
um, yes, yes.
Okay. And who offered her that diagnosis?
Um, the counselor, the licensed counselor that we tried to see, we went put out. My brother and I put an ultimatum out saying that if we cannot have a relationship until we get some type of counseling
Mm.
in, and so she did go. I think she went a couple of times before we came, and then once my brother and I joined, we made it through 2 sessions, and then she quit.
Yeah.
Um, my main question: am I doing the right thing? In I'm a believer, and I believe that we should honor our parents, mother and father. And I want to know: am I, I'm having maybe the guilt feeling of, should I let her back into my life? Should I just, forgive her? I mean, I love what you said. And it's like, just because
Yeah.
you forgive something, and there's not a
Yeah.
recipe about how to forgive.
Right. What we talked
It's,
about in the
I,
beginning part of the show really applies here, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So you can forgive her for everything, but um, the ability to let her back into your life, so to speak, um, that's going to depend on a couple of things. One is, what is at risk, right? If she said, I'm a neurosurgeon, and you say, I have headaches, and you say, okay, I'll let you operate on my brain. Well, that's a lot of trust, right? So
right.
maybe you don't want to go that far, but what what is it? In other words, principle number one, let's not think of it in terms of all or nothing terms, which is what she wants. She wants, as you said, she wants everything to be back as normal, right? Still
Yeah,
there?
she just wants to say sorry and okay, let's all get back together now.
Yeah, everything's wonderful. That's what I meant. It's all or nothing. Well, life doesn't really work that way. Besides, it's never been normal if she's
Right.
truly BPD, right? So we don't even know what
Yeah.
you're talking
Yeah.
about, Mom. When you say back to normal, are you talking about back to chaos? You want us to go back? Is that what you're saying? No, we don't want to do that. Okay. So,
Right.
so I would forget the all or nothing thing. And what I would think is, what's at risk? Well, you don't want to put your brain at risk and let her do brain surgery, but what is it exactly that becomes problematic for you? In other words, I think it's a good thing, especially with as parents get up in their years, you look at what level of relationship is she capable of that's not injurious to me.
Yeah, and it's like, even if we get together and talk, because that's what the counselor asked us to do on the very last session, is just try to go like out to eat. So we went to a restaurant, a public place, and there's still the condescending, if it's not my way, the highway, if it's not.
Well, give me a very, very specific example without using descriptives. In other words, when you say condescending, my way, the highway, that's a description of behavior. I want to hear the behavior. Like, what does she actually do?
Well, and I can't think of an example, but if I say something, this is how we like our food, and then it would be, well,
No,
I don't like it that way.
give me an
If
example.
if it's
You say, I like broccoli with butter on it. Okay, give me a very specific example. I'm trying to understand exactly what your mother's like.
at,
I can't do it through
okay,
descriptors. I need an example.
at at um, at holiday meetings or greetings, we would have lefse. It's a Norwegian thing that we eat, and a lot of us like it with maybe brown sugar and cinnamon or sugar. And she does not like any of that on it. She just wants butter. And if say she comes to our house and we have that, she's just very, well, that I don't like it that way. Why do you always do it your way and instead of my way? And and so then I'm like, well, this is our house, and we can, okay, we'll get you one. It's like, if how dare we didn't think of her immediately. Or I like sweet potatoes, but if I
Is
don't
this,
clean
is
my house
this,
the right way, she'll come
okay,
and
let me, is that injurious to you?
very, very. I mean, just
Really?
talking about it right now is I'm like on edge.
Okay. Well, maybe you're not ready. In other words, maybe there's been so much hurt in this relationship that in order for you to figure out what kind of relationship you're going to have with her, maybe there's some healing that's got to take place on your part. Or otherwise, it forces you into an all or nothing thing. You follow me?
So then,
Now, do you understand what I'm saying? That if you're
right,
if you're wounded by things that maybe not, let's put it this way, that for everyone would not be wounding, but they are wounding to you because she has wounded you in so many ways that that's legitimate hurt that you're walking around with that you need to get healed. Because if you're not, if she's able to injure you, then that forces you to really, really have to get kind of like not have a relationship with her if every interaction is injurious. You follow me?
yes, and pretty much that kind of is what happens every.
Yeah. Well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Now, I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong. I'm just describing for you what you're telling me, that any kind of interaction with her sends you into a place that's really painful for you. Okay. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a picture of what an all or nothing would look like. So I want you to be her. I'm going to be you that maybe has gone through a little more healing. Okay. And you be mom, and you come in and say whatever you're going to say, and I'm going to be you. Okay.
Okay. And I'm a mom. Okay.
You're your mom.
And this
Hi,
is
mom.
my mom. Or well, long time I haven't seen you. Where have you been?
Well, just been doing same old stuff I was telling you about, kids and work. Every now and then I get to sit down, watch a movie. How are you?
Oh, I'm just aching all the time. My
Oh,
back
that's
hurts.
hard.
My knee hurts.
Oh, that's terrible. Remember you told me about that. Sorry you're going through that. You want some of
Well,
this?
if you would
You want
come,
some of this Norwegian food here I made?
um, well, only if you have butter on it. Don't put that sugar on.
Well, I do have sugar on this. I can scrape sugar off and give you some with butter. You want that?
Yeah, did you get the right brand that I like?
I
Freddy's?
don't. I doubt it. Probably didn't, Mom. Probably just do it the way way I do it around here. But you're welcome to some if you want it. If you don't want it, that's fine.
Well,
I
no
got some
thanks.
tuna. You want some tuna fish? Got some tuna fish.
No, I hate tuna. You know that.
Oh, I didn't know that, or maybe I did, but I forgot it. Okay, well, I don't have any butter, so I don't know what to tell you. You're welcome to look in the fridge and see what's available for you.
Well, I just can't get up and do this. I'm hurting so bad today.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you have a seat? I'm gonna go back in the kitchen, talk to the kids, and then we'll all sit down. If you do decide that there is something you want, let me know. Okay, I'm gonna hit pause. All right.
Okay.
Now, what we just said, you said the same things to me that you described that she says to you. And what I was trying to model for you there is I do believe, and this is not necessarily the right answer for you or the wrong answer for you, but I know when people are struggling with parents as adults and they get to a place where the parents don't have the power to get to them anymore because those wounds have been healed, then your immune system is stronger. And then you can begin to have a relationship with her and she can be BPD or manipulative or whatever she's going to be. And then I just have my own Norwegian food and say, sorry, mom, I don't have any for you. And she's got to deal with that. But
Right. And
what you're telling me
then
is
my question
you're
is,
not there yet, right? You need some more
right,
healing.
because that's
You
what
need to get
that would be my
stronger.
next question is, what if I'm not wanting to have that relationship?
That's up to you.
Then my question is, am I not honoring my parents? Am I breaking a biblical law? Am I not honoring my parents? Am I not, or my parent, my father's passed away, but am I not honoring that, or am I breaking a biblical law?
Well, I think in my opinion, it's not something we have to decide. It's something she gets to decide. So you're not breaking the biblical law. And I kind of hate to put it that way because it's almost like you would only want to do good by your mother because you have to. It's some law. That's not the way the Bible works. The Bible works on a principle of love. And so let's set your woundedness aside for a second, because I don't want you to be injured and wounded. And so before everybody writes me angry emails and saying I'm subjecting her to hurt, I'm not. I'm telling you, if you need to have boundaries and stay separate from her because it's too painful, I said, you've got to do that, right? Because I do and have seen situations where I tell people, do not go talk to your mother. Do not go talk to your father or Uncle Joey who hurt you or whatever. And sometimes that's very, very important. But here's what I'm saying about your future question. To honor your mother would be to say something like, and this isn't the specifics, but it's the principle. It'd be something to say, Mom, I want to have a relationship with you. Okay. You're my mother. And I can have a relationship with you under these circumstances. Now, it's every time we get together, it's very painful for me when you do the things that I've told you about and you don't stop doing them. So I think right now, the level of relationship that we can have that's not too hurtful for me is only in the counselor's office.
Right. And actually, that is what we have said. And then that's why
That's
it's
great.
gone. And it stopped because she won't go back. So
okay, but still, you are honoring her. You're honoring her
Okay.
by keeping the invitation open.
Okay. Okay.
See, that's different than what you said before. What you said before was, I just don't want to have a relationship and I'm closing the door and there's nothing I would do to ever open it up again. Or that's kind of I'm adding words, but that's kind of the either or thing. And I'm saying, I do want to honor you. I want to have a relationship. But if we get together and you hit me over the head with a baseball bat every time, I can't do that. So I can only have a relationship with you when you're kind of, when I'm protected. So that's honoring.
Yep.
And if she doesn't want to start there, then she's the one that's saying no, not you. See the difference?
Yes, thank you. Yes, that was very eye-opening and helping. Thank you.
Good. So we shouldn't really, this isn't exactly right, but we ought to try to always think in not in terms of all or nothing with somebody that's difficult, but what am I able to do? A, because you can't do more than you're able, and B, what are they able to do? And we have the level of relationship with them that they're able to do, and not trust them to have a relationship that they're incapable of having and that injures me. I used to have 2 German Shepherds at the same time. One of them was a sweetheart. She was so well, uh, behaved. She would hand signal. She would do everything perfectly. I could take her anywhere. Anybody walked up to her, if she had the signal, this is a friend, she would go put her ears back and lick their face off. And she had a brother who was smarter than her, but he had a screw loose, and he was a little bit of a, kind of get aggressive first and ask questions later. And if somebody would walk towards me, he might get up and look like he's going to attack them, right? And scare the heck out of people in public places like outdoor restaurants. And I could not, I wanted to have a relationship. The dogs' name were Bonnie and Clyde. I wanted to have the same relationship with Clyde and take him everywhere with me that I could take Bonnie. They were partners in crime. That's why we named them that. But I couldn't. And so poor Clyde got left at home at lunchtime. Every time I went to lunch, Bonnie always went with me. I live in California, outdoor restaurants, sit there, people, children come up, loving Bonnie. If Clyde had been there, it would have been injurious to somebody. So there were certain kinds of relationships that I couldn't have with him, but not because I didn't want to honor my dog, right? Honor your parents. It's because he self-selected out with his behavior. So you tell her, I'd like to go to lunch with you, but if I go to lunch with you, then you can't bite me or anybody else. And if she can't not do that, then we have to restrict it to other places like the counselor's office. I hope that helps.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your call. It is a great question. We spent a lot of time on it because I think a lot of people can identify with having a difficult parent that you want to honor. But I want to go back to a couple of things. One is she opened the call. A lot of people have this reality saying, my mother's a borderline personality disorder. And I hear this, my wife's a borderline personality disorder, or my whoever. And so therefore I can't have a relationship with them. Well, first of all, that is such a problematic diagnosis now because it gets into the popular world. And there are so many different kinds of people with, quote, BPD, or humans that have BPD characteristics that are not borderline personality disorders and are not unworkable and are not untreatable and all that kind of stuff that you hear, that I would rather everybody do like I was trying to, to talk with Kay about. Let's talk, forget the diagnosis. Let's talk about specific behaviors and not put people into these categories. Why? Because categories are bad? No, it's because when we use a category, we ought to make sure we're talking about the same thing and that it has some useful utility to it. If there's a reason we're using it, so we can, make decisions. That's why we have diagnostic categories. But you got to deal with the behaviors. And so it's only possible to set limits. You can't set limits on a diagnosis, then you're all or nothing. You can, and a lot of people can do this. So they can't be treated. Oh, yes, they can. We've been doing it for 40, 50 years successfully in many, 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 many instances. So it's not all or nothing, but you have to look at specific behaviors and how am I going to respond to this behavior and let them know that this behavior I can't expose myself to. And when you do that, I won't be exposing myself to it. And when you don't, then we can talk or something like that. So I want you to get it specific in that way.